Meet Incore. He is a Grandmaster Olaf top main on EU West, who often breaks through to Challenger, peaking at 783 LP. Since Season 6, Incore has been dedicated to making Olaf top his way of reaching Challenger, and after years of practice, he has perfected the playstyle and made it. Incore uses Olaf as an early game fighting machine, solo killing the enemy top pretty much every game. I'm not joking when I say I've watched a lot of his replays, and he kills the enemy laner 95% of games. I'm going to show you how he does it. The main strength of Olaf jungle is his early game ganks and skirmishes in the river, where he's able to consistently slow enemies and chase them down, auto-attacking them to death. Jungle Olaf is impossible for a lot of champions to escape from once an axe hits, which makes him one of the strongest early game junglers. Incore has taken this strength to top lane, where Olaf becomes even stronger. Right from level 1, he is able to look for all-in kills. Starting with Q, Incore joins the lane and tries to snipe the enemy laner with his axe. If the enemy laner walks up to Olaf at level 1, it's likely a free kill. If Olaf hits an axe on a target that cannot dash away, again it is likely a free kill. This gives Olaf top incredibly frequent kill windows, where at any time his Q is off cooldown, he can try and tag the enemy with the crazy long skill shots, and if he does, they may just be dead. Olaf starts with 315 mana at level 1, which immediately gives him 5 axes he can throw. Incore uses this to chain axes together early, so that the enemy is repeatedly slowed, so that he can get on top of them and auto-attack them to death. If the enemy is not respecting these axes at level 1, he will go for a kill. If they don't respect them at level 2, he will go for a kill. If they don't respect them at level 3, he will go for a kill. This never stops, and is why he's able to so continuously win top lane and win the game. Even if enemies do respect the chase potential Olaf has, you can still use the long-range Q to walk up and poke them down. Leveling Olaf's W second lets him win any extended auto-attack fights, so this is the best point to look for kills. Once Olaf is level 3, he takes his E, which allows him to combo Q auto E as the enemy runs away. This ability has a surprisingly long range, though can be used under enemy towers to poke and move away before being hit. From level 4 onwards, Incore's laning with Olaf is a pretty simple pattern. Poke the enemy with Q, control the wave, and if the enemy walks into your half of the lane, he chases them down and they die. As Incore is such a high rank, it goes without saying that he always plays around where the enemy jungler is. At level 1 and 2, he doesn't need to worry about the ganks, so he can freely trade and go for all-ins. After this, he times his all-ins for when he knows where the enemy jungler is. Furthermore, he often moves with his own jungler to join early 2v2s or 3v3s. Take this clip, for example. Incore has had a bad early lane, dying twice to enemy jungle ganks by 4 minutes. But the early game power of Olaf is so incredible that he's able to join this fight in the jungle and pretty much carry it, even after this bad start, getting a triple kill, which brought him back into the game and allowed him to once again become a carry for his team. At level 6, Olaf gains a power spike in many lanes, as he can avoid CC, which is the main way many top champions can win all-ins. For example, Shen can no longer taunt Olaf to lock him in place for a gank, or to slow him, so that Shen can escape. Olaf also gains bonus AD and movement speed towards enemy champions, so it's worth using when trying to chase an enemy down. Even the ult passive helps Olaf with fights, giving him bonus armor and magic resist once it's leveled up. These resistances are lost when an ult is used, so Incore only uses ult for kills when it's necessary. As I mentioned, Incore has been playing Olaf top consistently for 5 years, so he knows the exact limits of the champion. Olaf's mechanics are no longer even a consideration for him, which lets him instead focus on tracking the enemy jungler so he can all-in safely, and only taking all-ins that he knows he will win. He has played every common matchup top lane, so will know the best levels to fight and who he loses to. He is not just blindly running in whenever he can and ulting, he plays every situation carefully and chooses his moments to rampage through a fight. Early game, Incore likes laning phase, so does not pressure the enemy tower too much. Olaf is balanced as a jungler, so when he's played top, he is able to get much more golden XP than he normally would. This means that his overall strength will be higher, making his one-item power spike even more effective than usual. Incore runs TP and uses it mostly to join fights bot lane when he knows he'll not lose much top and is needed to win a fight. Otherwise, he can also use it to recover from an early death and return to lane like nothing even happened. Take this TP for example, where Incore died early, and the enemy top also stayed around for extra gold. Incore TPs and uses the extra movement speed from TP and approach velocity in his runes to chase the Ornn down. This is a really easy and unexpected way to reclaim the lane after a death or a bad back. Olaf is known as an early game jungler who falls off late game, and top Olaf has similar struggles. Incore fixes this in fights by his positioning and his special way of team fighting. Normal Olafs often just run straight into fights, attempt to kill the carry, and then get burst down after maybe killing one person. Instead of this, Incore acts as follow-up damage for every fight he joins. He's very rarely the engage for his team, unless they have no other options, and if he does have to engage ever, then he adjusts his build for it. Olaf top is best played with one or two good engage champions on your team. For example, in this clip, he has a Hecarim jungle and a Nocturne mid who use their ultimates to engage the fight, so that Olaf can slip in unnoticed and then jump right onto the carries. This is a common theme to see in Incore's games, where he farms as much as he can and joins team fights as late as he can, so that the enemy cooldowns and dashes have already been used. He can then simply run carries down with his high damage and survivability, straight through any CC they have. With this style, Olaf top is a bit like an assassin, who is following up with damage in fights, but Olaf provides much more utility than an assassin. Incore aims to hit as many people with his axes as he can in fights, while also using the axe reset on pickup to chase down the priority targets. He does not greed for kills in fights. He makes sure he finds a single enemy that he needs to deal with first, and then moves on to others after killing them. Even if he is unable to fully focus down a carry, his axes can win a fight alone with the CC they provide. Hitting an axe on a carry with low mobility may mean they cannot even approach a fight, and if they do, Olaf could end up flashing onto them and insta-killing them, regardless of their CC. Olaf is a nightmare for all AD carries and immobile mids, so having him as a high damage carry top laner with a jungler who also has the ability to dive is a close to unstoppable combo. The champions Incore has the most success with on his team are Hecarim and Nunu jungle, who both bring engage, as well as engage supports like Alistar, Thresh, and Yuumi. I mention Yuumi as the Olaf-Yuumi combo is worth anyone trying, as Olaf gains so much speed and is unkillable through the healing that Yuumi gives. For top lane matchups, Incore doesn't care what he plays against, and is able to play well into any top laner. He has victories versus ranged tops like Lucian, where he chases them down early, and full tank tops like Ornn, where he tanks their limited damage and takes long trades. Olaf's early levels are close to the strongest of any top laner, so if you can use that, then you'll win any matchup. The runes that Incore takes most are Conqueror, Triumph, Legend Bloodline, and Last Stand. Conqueror is amazing on all champs that heal, synergizes well with Olaf W as well for the lifesteal. Triumph is great, as Olaf aims to hit lots of people with his axes in fights, so this rune restores a lot of HP when they die. Legend Bloodline again is great due to Olaf's W ability, as he will be auto-attacking a lot, so will lifesteal often. Last Stand is a special rune on Olaf, as he likes fighting when he has low HP anyway, due to his normal passive giving 1% attack speed per 1% HP missing, meaning that if he is at 10% HP, he will be gaining 90% extra attack speed, and dealing 11% extra damage from the rune. This is so good that some champions even buy Liantries for the extra 10% damage it gives, so this rune is great value. For secondaries, Incore takes Approach Velocity and Biscuit Delivery. Approach Velocity on Olaf is a must, as it gives 15% bonus movement speed towards enemies that you hit with an axe, which is how Incore gets most of his kills in lane. The rune lets you endlessly chase down enemies and stay on top of them, as they cannot compete with the high-speed Olaf. Biscuit Delivery and Time Warp Tonic are both good options for the other rune. Incore uses these to ensure he has enough mana to keep spamming axes at the enemy top to look for kills, and also stays high enough HP to go for all-in, even if they kite him. Incore's build for Olaf top starts with Corrupting Potion every game, so that he can spam axes in lane to give him more opportunities for all-ins. It also lets him survive ranged poke lanes, so that he can take all-ins on his terms. Early gold is either spent on a Kindle gem for the extra HP in lane and cooldown reduction, or alternatively versus champions with lifesteal, or ones that use Conqueror to gain lots of HP, he buys an early Thornmail or Executioner's Calling. For example, Fiora, Vladimir, Silas, and Maokai are all good matchups to build Executioners. His first item is always Black Cleaver, as it is such a good item on Olaf, providing him with AD, cooldown reduction, HP, armor shred, and movement speed after each hit, as well as getting a kill or assist. This lets Olaf continuously chain axes on enemies in fights, picking up kill after kill, not letting enemies escape. Incore builds Ninja Tabby every game, as he does not need the tenacity from Merc Treads, as he has the ultimate to block the CC. Ninja Tabby second lets him to continue snowballing and kill any champion that dares to come onto his side of the lane. Next, if Incore is ahead, he will buy Sterix Gauge, which helps him carry long fights. If he is behind, or as the main tank for his team, he will buy Randuin's versus enemy teams that are mainly AD damage, and Spirit Visage versus enemy teams that are mainly magic damage. After this, Death Stance is his next item, which provides lifesteal and survivability, and then Guardian Angel to make you less of a target in fights, as well as allow you to dive further than you normally would. Incore pretty much never gets to a 6th item on Olaf top, but Locket is a great final item, as by late game, you'll need to continue to dive in fights, but also need to protect your late game carries. When playing Olaf top, you don't want to be having long games, so Incore normally tries to finish the game as soon as possible, without needing to finish off the build. If you want to try out Olaf top for yourself, or follow Incore's climb back to Challenger, his OPGG is in the description. If there are any other players or champions that you find that are interesting in solo queue, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll make a video about them. Thanks for watching.